Part 1. Dressed as a mother-in-law, she leads the whole family to turn over. Author, Bamboo Fence Tea. Chapter 1. Chapter 1. Time travel to become a mother-in-law. The sun was setting in the west, and dusk stretched the two figures carrying the bamboo loaders until they reached a fork in the road and the two stopped. Yang Data shed tears while looking back at Yang Erden. Where are we going? The left side is going to the town to find a doctor to save Grandma, and the right side is going up the mountain to dig a hole to bury Grandma. Yang Erden burst into tears. Brother, is it really impossible to save me? Yang Data also started to cry loudly. It wasn't that he didn't want to save him, it was because his family couldn't even scrape together 5 copper coins, so how could he be saved? Zhang Ning woke up amidst crying. The dim light of the setting sun made her unable to open her eyes. She subconsciously made a weak sound from her throat, and her head moved uncomfortably. Yang Erden screamed when he saw this scene. Brother! Look, my mother-in-law is awake. What are you talking about? Yang Data turned back to look at Zhang Ning on the stretcher. Seeing that her eyelashes were really moving a few times, he immediately forgot to cry. He stared at Zhang Ning for a while and confirmed that Zhang Ning was really awake. He immediately smiled stupidly. Make a sound. Yang Erden was the first to react and asked quickly, Brother, where are we going now? Yang Data also came to his senses, gritted his teeth and stamped his feet, turned around. Let's go. Go home first. They couldn't come up with the money anyway, so they couldn't go to the town, and Anyang wasn't dead, so they couldn't carry her up the mountain. The two brothers carried Zhang Ning and turned back again. The chattering villagers sitting at the entrance of the village were all surprised when they saw it. Datu, didn't I take your mother to the doctor? Why are you back again? Who would go to the doctor if they weren't really dying these days? They had just seen the Yang brothers carrying Yang Jiangxi out of the village and guessed that Yang Jiangxi would not survive, but they didn't expect that they would be carried back again. Another old woman said with a face, if you die, just carry it up the mountain. Don't carry the dead person home. It's bad luck. Be careful that your grandpa and grandma will fall out with you. You're talking nonsense, my mother-in-law is doing well and that's why she didn't die. Yang Erden's tone was very harsh. The old woman could not bear to lose face and spat, good intentions are treated as a donkey's liver and lungs, a thing. The two brothers didn't talk nonsense to those village women. They were carrying Zhang Ning and were about to go home, but they were blocked by their second aunt Jian on the way. Second aunt, please let me know that my mother-in-law is not dead, we want to go home. Yang Data stared blankly at the woman in front of him, whose eyes were rolling. Jian refused to move at all. He glanced at the stretcher and shook his head decisively. Datu, logically speaking, your father is gone, and you are the boss of the big house. Let's have a good time here today. Although your mother has not yet expired, she is not far away from death. If you bring her back home and make the whole family suffer, who will be responsible for this? If nothing else, your grandpa and grandma are quite young. If something happens, can you two brothers afford it? Yang Erden was stubborn. I don't care, I will take my mother back. Ha! You brat, you are still unreasonable. I tell you. If you dare to take my sister-in-law back today, we will separate the family. Qian's good temper was completely wiped out, and she immediately put her hands on her hips and acted like a shrew. The brothers really had no way to deal with her, so they quickly put down the stretcher. Yang Erden bypassed Qian and rushed into the old house to ask for help. Qian also chased after him, seemingly unwilling to give up. The moment Zhang Ning was put down, she felt like the world was spinning, as if she had been traumatized twice. Although she couldn't open her eyes during this journey, her consciousness was clear. No matter how stupid she was, she could still understand her current situation. Unexpectedly, one moment she was wearing a beautiful dress and exquisite makeup, chatting with her blind date in a cafe, and the next second she was traveling through time. Forget about traveling through time, she bypassed getting married and became a widow. Forget about becoming a widow, and she also brought at least 2 oil bottles. The meaning of these 2 children is that their family can't even pay for her medical treatment. How poor they must be. Zhang Ning was so shocked by this information that he didn't even bother to struggle. Let's just destroy him like this. At this time, tensions were rising in the yard of the old house. Old Man Yang and his wife, Mrs. Li, listened silently to Qian's quarrel, with Yang Erden crying and howling from time to time. They felt like their heads were getting big. Old Man Yang took a puff of welding smoke and looked at his 2 sons with a solemn expression. What do you say? Yang Laoer subconsciously looked at his mother-in-law, who was glared at by Qian. He shrank his nose and said weakly, Dad, what the mother said is not unreasonable. Where is the 3rd child? Old Man Yang looked at his younger son again. Yang Laosan and his wife are dull-tempered people who can't beat anyone with 8 poles. They want to help Da Fang, but they are afraid of Qian, so they have to stay silent. Old Man Yang didn't expect his son to really say anything, so he finally turned his attention to Yang Datu. Datu, your father is gone, it's up to you to make the decision. Do you really want to bring your mother back? Yang Datu nodded. Qian became anxious and wanted to speak again, but Old Man Yang glared at him and reluctantly shut up, cursing in a low voice. Old Man Yang said in a deep voice, You have seen the situation at home, and you have heard what your second aunt said. If your mother dies at home and everyone in the family suffers, what will you brothers do? Yang Datu didn't think too much. When Old Man Yang stared at him so seriously, he immediately lowered his head. Ms. Li said, If you really insist, let's separate the family. Grandma, where will we live after we separate? Yang Santi, who had been silent just now, suddenly jumped out. Ms. Li glanced at Old Man Yang and said, This is the courtyard of our house. Your grandfather, me, your second uncle and your third uncle all live in the old house. There are 2 more houses on the hillside to the east of the village. Stay here for you. Yang Santi frowned, Grandma, half of the roofs of the 2 houses in the east of the village are gone. How can we live there? Li's face turned red and she said, Grandma knows that those 2 houses are somewhat dilapidated. As compensation, I will give you 2 acres of paddy fields and 4 acres of land in the east of the village. Mom. There are high-quality fertile fields over there. The father worked hard to raise the child, so why should he be given a big house? I don't accept it. Qian immediately became angry. Ms. Li's face darkened, If you don't accept it, get out. I'm not dead yet. It's not your turn to dictate to this family. Qian's eyes immediately turned red, and he stamped his feet angrily, but there was nothing he could do. Ms. Li looked at the 3 elder brothers and asked, Are you satisfied with this division? To be honest, the 3 Yang Data brothers really didn't expect to be allocated the land to the east of the village. The unexpected joy came so suddenly that the 3 brothers had no time to think. It was Lu Ye, Yang Data's newly married woman, who winked at him. Yes. In this way, the news that the Yang family and the old couple had divided their big house spread in Rongsha village. A group of people left the Yang family's old house with the few things they had separated from each other and a few rags and bags. When they arrived at the 2 houses in the east of the village, they were all dumbfounded. Although I knew the house was dilapidated, I didn't expect it to be so dilapidated. There is simply air leakage from all sides. When you stand in the house and look up, you can see the blue sky and white Sunday. If it rains heavily outside, it will also rain heavily inside. Does the roof look the same? A new article today. End of this chapter. Dressed as a mother-in-law, she leads the whole family to turn over. Author, Bamboo Fence Tea. Chapter 2. Chapter 2. The family is surrounded by 4 walls. How can people live in this, Yang Erden asked his soul. After receiving the news, the village chief looked at the 2 rooms and shook his head. he said pityingly to the Yang Data brothers, "Hey. I really don't know what to say about your second aunt. If you had gone looking for her at that time, I'll help, and no matter what happens, your family won't be kicked out. Now that your grandpa and grandma have come to see me, and the deed of family separation has been prepared, I can't say much more. You guys take this bag of beans. Life is made by people. I believe you brothers are all good, there will definitely be no problem. As for your mother-in-law." The village chief frowned when he saw the woman lying on the stretcher. "Look at her fate. It's best if she can live. If you can't live, you don't have to be sad. Life and death are determined by destiny." Zhang Ning frowned and said secretly, "What's going on? This old man doesn't seem to want her to survive." As she thought about it, she just felt a headache, and many memories of the original owner came to her mind. This weird thing almost made her angry and she almost lost her temper. The original owner's temperament was similar to Qian's. He was mean, took advantage, and was arrogant and unreasonable. If you let her take over, she will your blood like a leech. With Qian's 2 major stabs, it was troubled from morning to night every day. For a bean, they could fight with each other, making chickens flying. The original owner not only fought with Mr. Qian, but also with the women in the village. She would lick her face and grab sweets from children when she saw them. She was so shameless that everyone in the village had to take a detour when they saw her. How could a highly educated person in Jiangning accept being transported into such a body? Wouldn't this cost her her life? By the time she collected her thoughts and slowly opened her eyes, the sky had turned completely dark. Jiangning tried to sit up, and the wooden board under him immediately creaked. Lu Ye heard the noise and immediately ran in from outside. "Anyang, are you awake?" Jiangning snorted slightly. His head still hurt a little, but it was much better than before. The wound on his head was probably clotted with blood. "Datu, my mother-in-law is awake." Following Lu Ye's call, Yang Datu came in holding a torch and a bunch of tails. Everyone stared at Jiangning eagerly. Jiangning's head was as big as a bucket, and her stomach was rumbling. She was about to die. Lu Ye quickly held a bowl of food that looked like nothing and put it in front of Jiangning. "Mom, please eat it while it's hot." As soon as she finished speaking, the eyes around her seemed to get brighter. If she had to describe it, it was like a hungry wolf staring at a rabbit. Jiangning could still hear some smacking sounds, but unfortunately she was too hungry, her eyes were dizzy, and she couldn't see clearly. She took the bowl and took a sip, almost vomiting. "What is it?" Lu Ye was frightened, thinking that her mother-in-law would scold her again as before, so she explained with a white face, "My mother-in-law, the family just separated today. The food can only be divided after the autumn harvest. There is no money in the family. The grower gave me some beans, and I cook soup and porridge with wild vegetables. Pot herbaceous vegetables. No wonder it tasted astringent and bitter in the mouth, like Chinese herbal medicine. It was cooked with beans. The taste was so weird that she couldn't even describe it. She seemed to be even hungrier after having something in her stomach. Jiangning couldn't care less about the unpleasant taste. It was like drinking medicine. Finished it in 3 or 2 gulps. Lu Ye felt relieved when he saw her finish drinking, and quickly took the lead to go out. The room became dark again. What Jiangning saw after lying down was a sky full of stars. This kind of scene is difficult to see in the 21st century. Outside the house, Lu Ye said to Yang Datu, "My mother's condition seems to be much better. Let's take a look at it at dawn. If it doesn't work, we can borrow some money to take her to the town." Before the family was not divided, they were not qualified to borrow money and could not borrow money. Now that the family is divided, although everything is clear, at least they can be the masters of the family. Yang Datu nodded, sat on the stone and fell into deep thought, but he was in trouble. Who should I borrow this money from? In silence, Everyone fell asleep one after another around the fire. Zhang didn't sleep at all. The mosquitoes buzzing around her almost didn't carry her away. Even if she covered her face with her hands, she would be bitten. She got up as soon as the sky was slightly bright. With the dim light, she finally saw clearly. The house looks like an adobe house of about 20 square meters, with mottled walls and pits on all sides. 1/3 of one side has collapsed, and there are small holes on the other 2 or 3 sides. I don't know if they were washed away by rain or caused by man. Half of the thatched roof is gone, and the other half is probably only one layer left. It has no effect except to block the sun. If it rains heavily, the bottom will get wet. There were a lot of weeds growing on the ground, including the difficult to treat cowgrass. There was a bedboard in the corner, where she slept. There was nothing but a bedboard, and the walls of the house were not so clean. Zhang took a deep breath and comforted himself. Fortunately, the air is fragrant, so it's not all a bad thing. Thinking like this, she turned around and walked out of the yard. She saw 4 men and 2 women sleeping spread out around the fire. Except for Lu Ye, they were all her cheap children. Every one of them was malnourished. The eldest Yang, logically speaking, Data should be 15 years old, but she looks like she is 12 or 13 years old. Such a young child could start a family. She simply cannot imagine that the youngest daughter, Xiaoa, is 6 years old and looks as big as a 4-year-old child. What a sin! Zhang shook his head, turned around and entered the room next door. This one was even more amazing. It didn't even have a roof, it was open style. There was a half-rotten stove inside, and the ground was overgrown with weeds. She was worried that a snake would jump out when she stepped on it, so she quickly retreated. After thinking for a while, her eyes fell on the bonfire that still had some sparks. It took some effort to relight the fire, got some torches and threw them on the floor of the stove. When the weeds slowly started to burn, she breathed a sigh of relief and put the things in the separate house. I took a quick look at things. The only things they were given were clothes that a few of them usually wore and a tattered winter coat for each of them. A bed of tattered quilts and 2 straw mats that they had slept on for who knows how many years were being spread on the bodies of several children. I'll give them a chopping knife and a sickle. I should give them some food. I wonder if it was too late yesterday and the old house didn't have time to load it for them. In addition to these, there are a few baskets, a wooden barrel, a wooden basin, 2 pairs of bowls and chopsticks, and a small bag of beans given by the village chief. Zhang laughed angrily when he saw the 2 pairs of bowls and chopsticks. The 7 of them shared 2 pairs of bowls and chopsticks. It was too bullying. How to cook without a pot? Zhang stood up and took a closer look, only to find that Liu used an earthen pot. She pointed at this earthen pot to feed the 7 people. She no longer knew what to say. The top priority is to find food. At least, we need to stock up on food for a few days, lest these children cannot survive even 3 days. There is also the problem of housing. Rongsha village is located in the south. Although winter is not as cold as in the north, but it also snows here in winter. This house is the same as the others. It has to be demolished and rebuilt before people can live in it. Ordinary farmers who want to renovate their house have to devote their entire family efforts and save for 10 or 20 years, but she must get the house out before winter, otherwise the whole family will not be able to survive the winter. Thinking of this, Zhang only felt that the burden on his shoulders became heavier. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Dressed as a mother-in-law, she leads the whole family to turn over. Author, Bamboo Fence Tea. Chapter 3. Chapter 3 Assigning Tasks. Yang Santi woke up when he smelled the burning smell. As soon as he opened his eyes, he saw the flames in the stove room rising into the sky. His mother was still sitting crookedly outside the stove room. He was so frightened that he jumped up on the spot. "Big brother, second brother, don't sleep, it's on fire." A group of people were called out, and they were all dumbfounded when they saw the raging stove house. Yang Data was crying and wanted to find someone for help. Zhang Ning shouted without even opening his eyes, "Stop! I set the fire." Yang Data stiffened, and everyone looked at Zhang Ning in astonishment. "Auntie, why is this? If you are hungry, just call me to get up. You don't have to light the fire yourself." Lu Ye was a little helpless, thinking that her mother-in-law accidentally set the stove on fire. It's okay for her mother-in-law to have a bad temper. I'm lazy and greedy. I heard that her natal family didn't farm. She married into Rongsha village for more than 10 years, and now she still doesn't distinguish between grains and grains. She can't even use a large stove. It's just a weird mother to open the door for a weird girl. She's so weird. Zhang Ning held his hands with his shriveled belly, slowly opened his eyes, and said feebly, "Keep burning for a while longer, and then go in after the weeds are gone." Everyone. "Auntie, did you set the fire to burn the grass inside?" Yang Erden stood on tiptoe at the door of the stove house, stretched his neck and looked into the stove house, but could not see anything. Zhang Ning opened his eyes and looked at him. "What if there are snakes, insects, rats and ants inside?" The ants she was talking about were not the kind of small ants, but the most common poisonous ants in the wilderness. Not to mention their size, they are extremely agile. If you accidentally step on their holes, densely packed poisonous ants will come out of the nest and be trapped by them. The bite will not kill you, but it will cause redness, swelling, pain and itching for several days, making it extremely uncomfortable. Yang Erden suddenly realized, "Anayang, you are still smart." Yang Datu, dot. "Auntie, tell me what you want to do next time. I'll go find someone to borrow and use it instead of setting a fire." Yang Data frowned. Intuitively Zhang Ning set the fire to save money, not because he was afraid of snakes, insects, or rats. And how can rural people be so particular? Zhang Ning was too lazy to talk nonsense to him. The fire burned for a while and was completely burned out when it was almost done. Yang Erden was the first to get in. The 4 walls of the house were blackened. He kicked one of the walls with his feet, but unexpectedly it cracked. He felt bad all over. "Anayang, come and look, the wall is about to fall." A bunch of people came in and quickly retreated. Yang Data's eyes were red. "Mommy, this house can no longer be inhabited. I'm going to beg Grandpa and Grandma, let's move back." "Stop," Zhang Ning called Yang Data eagerly, "come here." Yang Data walked to Zhang Ning weakly and helplessly and squatted down. Zhang Ning was afraid of being exposed, so he imitated the original owner and pinched his ears, scolding him angrily, "Are you a pig? We finally separated and got 2 acres of paddy fields and 4 acres of land, and now we are begging to go back. It won't be so easy to divide it again in the future. Even if it is divided again, can your grandpa and grandma still give us those fields?" Yang Data was unhappy, "But we don't have a place to live." Thinking of the shocking cracked wall just now, Yang Data couldn't help but feel frightened. Fortunately, his mother-in-law set it on fire, otherwise they would have lived in it in a daze. If the wall fell down and someone happened to be inside, the consequences would be disastrous. Zhang Ning breathed a long sigh of relief, looked at the smoke rising from the village, and whispered, "Let's find a way to find food first. Judging from the weather, it won't rain in the past few days. If not, let's build a straw shed to deal with it for a while, and we'll talk about it later." At this moment, Xiao shouted excitedly, "Anayang, brother, what do you think this is?" "What is it?" Yang Sizhuang was the first to run over, and then 2 children rushed out of the kitchen holding a nest of roasted eggs. "Look! It's wild eggs." Zhang Ning's eyes suddenly shone brightly, and he gave his hand to Yang Datu. "Quick, help me go over and take a look." A group of children automatically gave way to her. Zhang Ning leaned over and took a closer look, and was happy. "It's really a wild egg. Xiao, it's so awesome. I'll reward you with an egg later." Lu Ye's face stiffened and she asked weakly, "Mom, why don't you keep the wild eggs and eat them slowly? They don't have much food." Zhang Ning's head was full of eggs, and his eyes were green with greed. He shook his head without thinking. "Cook it all, let's eat together." Lu Ye was so frightened that cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Even if it was luxurious, it couldn't be made like this. It felt like there would be no tomorrow after today. She knew her mother-in-law was unreliable, so she could only look to Yang Datu for help. Yang Datu had to stop him. "Auntie, let's save half of it for dinner." Zhang Ning thought about the situation at home and understood the pressure of Yang Datu as the boss, so he followed his wishes. Lu Ye was deeply afraid that she would regret it, so she hurriedly went to cook with the wild eggs, half cooking and half hiding, secretly, obviously to guard against Zhang Ning. Zhang Ning couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth, just pretending not to notice. The wild bean soup with wild eggs without any seasoning was just as unpalatable, but at least it was more filling than the meal last night and provided some nutrition. Zhang Ning had a good meal, and the feeling of panic gradually disappeared. Seeing that Yang Datu was about to leave, she immediately asked, "What are you going to do?" Yang Datu was helpless. "Mommy, the work in the fields hasn't been done yet. Yezi and I have to go to the fields, and Lao and the others have to go into the mountains to find food. If you have nothing to do, you can play with Xiao, or get some bamboo to build hayloft." He doesn't expect Zhang Ning to work, as long as Zhang Ning doesn't go to the village to flirt with those women and make a fuss. Zhang Ning's eyes fell on the continuous Jingfen mountain behind his home, and he muttered, "I will go into the mountains with Santi Sizhuang, and Erden will take Xiao to chop bamboo." In my memory, the Yang brothers were all frequent visitors to the mountains. They climbed trees, fished and went to the fields. They were good at everything they did. They knew everything there was in the mountains, but the scope of their activities was limited to the outskirts of Qingfen Mountain. The Yang brothers were shocked by Zhang Ning's words. Yang Santi muttered reluctantly, "Aniyang, you'd better follow Sizhuang Xiao to chop bamboo, while my second brother and I go into the mountains." He was really not happy to go with Zhang Ning. Zhang Ning ignored his protest and took a backpack and walked directly towards Qingfen Mountain. Yang Datu smiled bitterly and said, "3 irons and 4 villages, I will leave it to you. Regardless of whether we can find something or not, we must first ensure my safety. After all, we are just mothers like this." Although Anyang is unreliable, with Anyang around, they are no longer wild children, and they will not be ridiculed by those in the village. Yang Santi nodded with his head drooped, listlessly. From the east of the village, it is closer to Qingfen Mountain. Walk outside the village, climb a few slopes, and cross a few field ridges. The villagers went out to work early in the summer and met a few people along the way. Zhang Ning felt that he was smiling kindly, but when everyone saw the mother and son, they were like seeing the plague. They either pretended not to see it or saw a ghost. Dodge, for fear of being blackmailed by them. End of this chapter. Dressed as a mother-in-law, she leads the whole family to turn over. Author, Bamboo Fence Tea. Chapter 4. Chapter 4 God of Cooking System. Zhang Ning's smile froze. She couldn't stop laughing anymore when she arrived at the foot of Qingfen Mountain. Not many people entered the mountain early in the morning. She was in a good mood and everything she saw was like a treasure. What shocked her the most was that there were melons all over the mountains and plains, some were still green, and some were already overripe, and the smell was faintly revealed when a gust of wind blew through them. Zhang Ning ran over excitedly and gave her a big hug. A mechanical voice sounded in my mind, "Kualu, it can be used medicinally and edible, and its seeds can be fried to make melon seeds. Zhang Ning was overjoyed. She didn't expect that her god of cooking system would also come with her. Her consciousness immediately entered the system and found that all the ingredients stored in it before she traveled were there. Spices such as different varieties of chili peppers, Sichuan peppercorns, pepper, cumin, cloves, star anise, bay leaves, tangerine peel, cinnamon, etc., each weighing about 20 to 30 pounds, and some are from different origins, because different dishes have different tastes. She prepared everything, the necessary ingredients for cooking: lard, soybean oil, sesame oil, salt, light soy sauce, dark soy sauce, umami soy sauce, rice vinegar, mature vinegar, rice wine, white wine, beer, monosodium glutamate, chicken essence, brown sugar, white sugar, rock sugar, honey, a lot of it. In addition to these, there are also some dry goods, such as longan, red dates, dried figs, dried cordyceps, white fungus, shiitake mushroom, red mushroom, bamboo fungus, abalone, squid, scallop, shrimp, sea cucumber, bird's nest, deer antlers, etc. essential ingredients for making soup. In addition, there are 2 large bags of all-purpose flour for making pasta, a small amount of cornmeal, and a small amount of whole grains. After reading those things, Zhang Ning cried with joy. Although there was not much food, it was at least enough for emergencies, but she couldn't explain the origin of these things yet, and she couldn't take them out at all. Yang Santi saw his mother-in-law holding a handful of melon seeds, crying and laughing, and frowned tightly. "Mom, those things stink so bad, no one picks them at all, they are not a treasure." Zhang Ning came to his senses and hurriedly explained, "This is a good thing that can be sold for money. Come over and help." Yang Santi curled his lips and didn't take Zhang Ning's words seriously at all. He turned around and squatted on the ground to pick wild vegetables. "I still have to find something to eat. Mom, let me play by myself." Zhang Ning took a look and saw that Yang Santi was squatting on the ground and pulling at wild vegetables she didn't recognize, leaving a large patch of plantains and dandelions next to them unpicked. She twitched the corner of her mouth and told Yang Sizhuang to pick them. Yang Sizhuang was not as rebellious as Yang Santi and was afraid of his original owner. When Zhang Ning shouted, he immediately squatted down to work. It was just picking wild vegetables. It was not a big deal. As long as the mother-in-law didn't curse others and chased him away like a rabbit. Zhang Ning took a look and saw that the 2 children were working hard, and he also concentrated on picking the melons. They were all over the mountains and plains, and she couldn't pick them all by herself. The basket on her back was soon full, and she hurriedly said, "I'll take these back first and then come back to you. Remember not to go too far." Yang Santi looked like he had seen a ghost. He stood up and watched Zhang Ning leave. He kicked Yang Sizhuang and said, "Do you think my mother's brain has been damaged? She even reminded us. This is really the sun rising from the west. It's the first time in his life that he has seen it." Yang Sizhuang wiped his bubbling nose and said, "Isn't that great? As long as my mother-in-law doesn't beat me, that's fine." Yang Santi nodded in agreement and continued to squat down to work. Although he wanted to play, he had to suppress those thoughts due to the current situation at home. On the way back, Zhang Ning passed by the field and saw more people working, but everyone's reaction was surprisingly consistent. Not to mention saying hello to her, they didn't even bother to look at her. This time she learned the lesson and quickly crossed the field and carried her things home. Yang Dazhuang saw Zhang Ning leaving and chatted with Yang Zuzi beside him. "That must be the stubborn woman from Yang Hu's family just now. What do you think she did when she went into the mountains so early in the morning? There were baskets of them." Yang Tuazi didn't even raise his head, and his tone of voice was full of disgust. "What does it matter what she does? Just don't blackmail us. Zhang even robbed his son of candy, how could he do anything serious?" Yang Dazhuang was right to think about it and continued to work with his head down. Zhang Ning was so exhausted that he was sweating profusely when he carried Gualu back, and his shoulders were in severe pain. The original owner said that this was not an ordinary lazy thing. I think she had suffered a lot before time travel. In that era of material abundance, she could still carry it. 40 or 50 kilograms of things were carried all the way, and these melons and trichosanths weighed less than 40 kilograms. The original owner's body was unable to bear the burden. She shook her head and put the melon in the corner of the kitchen house, then continued to the foot of Qingfeng Mountain. She went back and forth about 6 or 7 times before stopping. It was already dusk. When Yang Datu and Luya came back from the fields, they saw that Gualu Inyizaoa was not feeling well. "Auntie, you picked these all?" Yang Datu blurted out subconsciously. Yang Santi immediately distanced himself from the relationship. "Brother, I asked my mother not to pick the vegetables. She refused to listen and insisted on playing. It's none of my business. I picked wild vegetables properly." Yang Data lowered his head and glanced at Yang Santi's harvest. His face was finally a little relieved. His eyes fell on Yang Sizhuang's backpack, and his expression cracked instantly. "Fourth, what did you pick?" Yang Sizhuang pointed at Zhang Ning with an innocent face. "My mother asked me to pick it." Yang Data took a deep breath and put on a smile that was uglier than crying. "Since it was my mother who asked you to pick it, forget it." Zhang Ning said, "Those are plantains and dandelions, they are edible." Yang Data helplessly held his forehead. "Auntie, I know those are plantains and dandelions. The village doctor said that if you have a headache or brain fever, you can use them to boil water. I generally don't eat these things. Although Rongsha village is poor, it is backed by mountains, has streams and lakes, and has many gifts from nature. Some people have tried to eat fresh food before, but the results were either unpalatable or poisoned, and in serious cases they even lost their lives. Since then, everyone has tacitly agreed to pick common wild vegetables and fruits. No one dares to try anything they have never seen or eaten before. Even if 1 or 2 people try it and they are fine, no one will follow suit on a large scale." Zhang Ning also knew that it would be difficult to persuade them to accept, so he had no choice but to say to Liu, "You can make me some plantains and dandelions, and I will eat this." Auntie Luya frowned and wanted to persuade. Seeing Zhang Ning's determined look, she had no choice but to agree. Watching Liu going to cook, Zhang Ning asked, "Where are Erden and Xiao? Why haven't they come back so late?" "I'll go and have a look." Yang Data walked out without saying a word, and Yang Santi immediately caught up with him. Zhang Ning didn't think much and went to the kitchen house to clean up the melons. Those rotten melons exude an unpleasant stench, and there is no way to dispose of them and sell them, but the seeds can be cleaned and fried. It just so happens that this house has just been burned, and the ground is full of plant ash, which can be used to rub the rotten melon seeds. Trichosanths is just right. She was busy inside. Liu glanced curiously at the door for a few times. She was persuaded by the smell and quickly turned around to continue her work. Zhang Ning was busy until Yang Data's voice was heard outside, and then he left the stove house. When he saw them dragging a pile of bamboo back, he hurried over to help. Just as she approached, several children frowned in unison. Zhang Ning didn't say anything. "Let's wait and see if these people will dislike it after she gets rid of Gualu. There are only so many ingredients that the system can think of at one time, and they may be updated in the future." Oh, mathematical intersection symbol. Mathematical intersection symbol, oh haha. End of this chapter. Dressed as a mother-in-law, she leads the whole family to turn over. Author, Bamboo Fence Tea. Chapter 5. Chapter 5 Fried Melon Seeds. Dinner was the same wild vegetables and boiled beans. Luya only put a wild egg in it. He looked at Zhang Ning cautiously, for fear of being scolded. Zhang Ning was focused on the melons and didn't pay much attention to them. Luye breathed a sigh of relief and quickly brought the plantains and dandelions in front of her. Jiangning secretly sprinkled a little salt into it while they were not paying attention, so that it would at least have some flavor. The children saw that she was eating so well and even tried to take a few bites. Yang Sizhuang said, "It's not that delicious. How come my mother-in-law eats so well?" Jiangning ignored him, but looked at Yang Erden and Yang Xiao. They were fine when they went out, but when they came back they had injuries on their faces. At first, she thought they were scratched while handling bamboo, but now they left. It wasn't until she got closer that she noticed something was wrong with the injuries. Yang Xiao trembled when Jiangning looked at her, and her little head was buried even lower. Yang Datu hurriedly helped her out. "Anyang, little sister, they chopped too much, and they can't get it back, which is why it took so long." Jiangning looked at the dozen bamboos. Even if they were playing and working at the same time for a whole day, they wouldn't just do it. There must be something going on inside, but the children didn't say anything, and she was too sensible to ask. After dinner, Jiangning continued to clean up the trichosanths. Yang Datu and Yang Erden came over to help and cleaned up the rotten trichosanth seeds according to Jiangning's request. At first, they couldn't stand the smell, but after smelling it for a long time, they got used to. Jiangning left the work to them and processed the fresh melons himself, washed them and cut them in half, then took out the pulp and seeds, washed the peels, turned them inside out and dried them, and then dried them outside. There is no sun in the evening, but the mountain breeze blows one night and a few days of sunshine is enough. When it was time to dry, Jiangning discovered that they didn't have a big dustpan at all, so they could only put the wooden board on which she slept on top for the time being. No one else dared to say anything, but Yang Santi muttered dissatisfiedly, "Mom, if you use your bed to make those things, where will you sleep at night?" Jiangning looked at the two straw mats beside the campfire and said, "If you squeeze in a little bit, if you can't squeeze in, I can make do with leaning against the wall for one night." No one said anything. The few little ones lay down on it when it got completely dark, and soon they all fell asleep. Yang Datu and Luye were exhausted after a day of farm work, and they couldn't care less about being exhausted. When they went there, they heard a loud noise soon. Despite the purring sound, only Yang Erden remained erect, looking as if he had something on his mind. He didn't take the initiative, and Jiangning didn't force him. Instead, he motioned for him to enter the kitchen and whispered, "Do me a favor and take these melon seed cores to the stream and wash them." There was a stream passing by near their home. Apart from the sound of gurgling water and the chirping of insects and birds, there was no one around the stream at night. The mother and son quickly washed most of the baskets of melon seeds. Jiangning asked, "Besides the clay pot for cooking, is there anything else we can use to make a fire for cooking?" Yang Erden shook his head. Jiangning looked disappointed. This was the first time Yang Erden saw his mother-in-law looking so depressed. He racked his brains for a long time, scratched his head and said, "It's not that there is nothing, it just can't be used. There was a half-broken tile on the stove before. The jar was picked up by my sister-in-law to fill it with water." Jiangning quickly took Yang Erden back. All the children in the yard were fast asleep and not at all alert. She sighed inwardly and glanced at the broken earthen pot with a smile on her face. Although the thing was not big, it was no problem for frying melon seeds, but Yang Erden had to be put to sleep first. She was thinking about how to fool Yang Erden, and when she turned around, she found that the child was lying down by himself. Perhaps he was exhausted and fell asleep quickly. Jiangning breathed a sigh of relief and started frying the melon seeds. Everything was ready-made, and the seasonings were in the system. You can use them as you go. According to the frying steps given by the God of Cooking system, she first fried the melon seeds until they were 7 mature, and then poured in salt and sugar water. Continue to stir-fry until the color changes. The fried melon seeds are fragrant and the previous smell is completely gone. She took a small taste of one, and her eyes narrowed with happiness. Luye was awakened by the fragrance, and opened his eyes when he heard the sound in his ears. He happened to see Huanye tinkering with the broken earthen pot, and hurried over to help. "Auntie, what are you doing? It smells so good. I woke you up. Try it and see if it tastes good." Zhang gave Luye a melon seed and taught her how to eat it. Luye's eyes lit up after eating just one. "Auntie, did you make this? What is it made of? There seems to be salt in it. Where did it come from?" Zhang looked embarrassed and made a gesture to keep quiet. "Keep your voice down, I managed to save it secretly, just a little bit." Luye thought about her mother-in-law's virtue, and it was indeed something she would do, so she didn't dare to ask any more questions at the moment. Zhang smiled with satisfaction. "I fried it with the melon and salt that you all despise. Is it delicious?" "What? How can such a smelly thing make such delicious food?" Luye was not calm at all. Zhang nodded affirmatively. "I told you yesterday. If you don't believe it, you have nothing to say now. Do you think I can exchange these melon seeds for money if I sell them in the town?" Luye nodded like a pound of garlic. "Of course you can." She had never tasted such fragrant melon seeds before. She had heard from the aunt in the village that a pound of melon seeds cost 5 cents in town. She was lucky enough to eat one. It was not as delicious as the melon seeds made by her mother-in-law. They sold a pound of melon seeds for 2 cents. Sanwen can always be sold. Zhang must have become more confident after winning Liu, so he quickly fried all the remaining melon seeds. The mother-in-law and daughter-in-law were busy all night, and they only finished frying half a basket of melon seeds at dawn. Yang Datu and others also woke up. After tasting the melon seeds, everyone was so excited that they looked at Zhang in astonishment, as if they knew her for the first time. Zhang didn't explain either, and said to several children, "I'm going to the town today to see if I can sell it. Which of you will follow me?" Yang Datu looked around and stood up. "Anyang, I'll go with you. The town is no better than the village, with a mixed bag of fish and dragons. Regardless of whether it can be sold or not, he can't let his mother-in-law make trouble outside." Zhang didn't know what Yang Datu was thinking at all. Then it's settled. Datu will follow me to the town. Erden and Xiao will pick up the bamboos at home and get some thatch and hemp rope back. If we come back early, after setting up the straw shed, Santi and Sizwan continued to pick wild vegetables at the foot of the mountain. The work in the fields was hard. After arranging the household chores, Zhang asked Yang Datu to help him dry the melons and trichosanths that had been dried overnight in an open area. The mother and son left the village and walked to the left. To get to the town, they had to walk a mountain road first. After leaving the mountain, they came to the official road. They had to walk for more than half an hour. People in the village usually don't go to the town. They only go to the big market. They entered the town in groups. There was no big gathering today, and neither mother nor son met many villagers on the road. When I arrived at the official road, I saw some pedestrians, walking in 2s and 3s, in a hurry, and looking very cool. Until the words Das Hantown came into view, Zhang took a long breath and pulled Yang Datu to speed up the pace. In the memory of the original owner, Das Hantown was just a small town with a small population. It had a good geographical location. Businessmen traveling from east to west, north, and south often came here to rest and repair. There were more inns and restaurants in the town than in Qingshan town next door. Many. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Dressed as a mother-in-law, she leads the whole family to turn over. Author, Bamboo Fence Tea. Chapter 6. Chapter 6 finally saw the money. Yang Datu entered the town and began to look around for stalls. He pulled Zhang Ning from the street to the end of the street, and then from the end of the street to the street, walking back and forth 2 or 3 times. Zhang Ning's face turned dark. What are you doing? Yang Data frowned. Mom, today is not a big market, there are no people setting up stalls in the town, how about we go to the alley? Not during the big market, everyone would just walk around the streets to buy things. Zhang Ning was speechless and dragged Yang Data towards a grocery store. When she was approaching the door, she asked Yang Data to wait outside while she went in. Shopkeeper, do you sell melon seeds? The shopkeeper didn't look down on Zhang Ning when he saw that Zhang Ning was dressed in rags, but nodded kindly. What kind of melon seeds do you want to buy? I have melon seeds from the north, and small ones from the south. Thin melon seeds, the former is not as fragrant as the latter, but its meat is thicker. Although the latter has no meat, it really doesn't taste good. 5 cents per pound, do you want it? As he said that, the shopkeeper also showed the melon seeds to Zhang Ning. Zhang Ning came closer and smelled it, frowned slightly, took out a few melon seeds from his arms and handed them to the shopkeeper. Shopkeeper, do you want to try these melon seeds? The shopkeeper glanced at Zhang Ning suspiciously, and Zhang Ning cracked 2 melon seeds in front of him. The shopkeeper then tasted a few, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Guess, sir, where did you buy this? How much does it cost per pound? There are only a few shops selling melon seeds in the town. Could it be that they secretly purchased them without telling him? Which one suffered 1,000 cuts? The shopkeeper was cursing in his heart while he warmly welcomed Zhang Ning into the shop. It seemed that he was trying to make a conversation. Zhang Ning followed the other party's wishes and went in. Yang Datu, who was thick outside, subconsciously wanted to catch up. When he stepped on the steps, he found that his tattered straw sandals with exposed toes were incompatible with the shop. He immediately retracted his feet timidly and continued, waiting uneasily outside. Zhang Ning didn't beat around the bush with the shopkeeper. As soon as he entered the shop, he whispered, Shopkeeper, to be honest, the melon seeds I just gave you to taste were made by the little lady herself and were not bought from outside. If you think this thing can make money, little wife, I'll sell it to you. If you think you can't make money, then the little woman can go to other shops and won't delay the shopkeeper's business. The shopkeeper was shocked. Sir, are you telling the truth? Did you really do it yourself? Zhang Ning nodded affirmatively. The shopkeeper was deep in thought. Despite his expressionless face, he was actually regretting it. He would not have told the other party the price of the melon seeds if he had known it. How much should he pay now? The more he thought about it, the more confused he became. The shopkeeper hesitated and said, Sir, how many goods do you have there? Zhang Ning thought for a while and said hesitantly, I brought out only a dozen kilograms this time. If the shopkeeper really wants it, I can sell it all to you. If it sells well, I will send more next time. Then what's the price? The shopkeeper frowned. Most people would have retreated long ago when they saw this expression, but Zhang Ning acted as if he hadn't noticed and said without changing his expression, it's 4 cents per caddy. We will deliver it to your door personally. As for how much the shopkeeper sells it, we don't care. 4 wen is too expensive. 3 wen, I'll cover all of it. A flash of light flashed in the shopkeeper's eyes, and he gritted his teeth, looking as if he had been cut into pieces. Zhang Ning shook his head. 4 coins cannot be less. If the shopkeeper thinks it's valuable, I'll ask elsewhere. She turned around to leave, but the shopkeeper immediately stopped her. Yang Data rushed in when he heard the commotion. Don't bully my mother. Shopkeeper, Zhang Ning said, Shopkeeper, you've seen it too. My son can't wait any longer. Can he make 4 cents? Just one word. The shopkeeper wanted to grind it again, but Yang Data was so anxious that he wanted to call someone. The shopkeeper was shocked by him and was speechless. I'm convinced. Sir, You are so awesome. The son you raised is even better. 4 coins is 4 coins, let's hand over the money with one hand and deliver the goods with the other. Zhang Ning tugged on the stunned Yang Datu and motioned for him to help the shopkeeper. She couldn't understand the scales of this era at all, but she could still weigh the approximate weight. In the end, the scale came out to be 18 kilograms and 4 taels. 74 articles. Before leaving, Zhang Ning bought 2 clay pots from the shopkeeper. They almost sold them half and gave them away, and only charged her 4 cents. Yang Data covered the copper plate in his arms and was so excited that he turned around and hit his left foot with his right foot. After leaving the grocery store, he tugged on Zhang Ning's sleeve tightly. "Anyang. Are they really sold?" Zhang Ning rolled his eyes and said angrily, "Otherwise the copper in your arms is fake. Stop talking nonsense and buy some grain and salt first." Yang Data paused, that grocery store just had it. Change another room, Zhang Ning didn't even bother to say too much to his solid-eyed son. The two discussed it. Yang Data went to the grain store to buy grain, and Zhang Ning went to buy salt. When we arrived at another larger grocery store, the clerk was obviously looking down on others and ignored Zhang Ning at all. Zhang Ning bypassed him and went to the counter, and asked the shopkeeper who was doing the accounting, "Shopkeeper, do you want to change the salt here?" The shopkeeper's fingers on the abacus paused, and he looked up at Zhang Ning. "Sir, do you have fine salt? Where did it come from?" Zhang Ning smiled and said, "I don't have fine salt, just a can. It was because I accidentally helped a passing merchant and was rewarded. Otherwise, how could poor people like us afford such expensive things? No, as soon as I got it, I came over and exchanged it." There were not more than a dozen merchants passing through Das Han town, but only 2 or 3 in a day. The shopkeeper did not comment on Zhang Ning's statement. "Let's take a look at things first." Zhang Ning knew there was something going on as soon as he heard this, and quickly carefully took out a can of fine salt from his backpack. The salt processed and produced now is far cleaner than the fine salt of this dynasty. It has no impurities at all. It is so perfect that the shopkeeper was amazed. This was the first time he had seen such high-quality salt. He immediately didn't want to return it to Zhang Ning. The tone of his voice he immediately became warm and asked, "What do you want to change, sir?" Zhang Ning was embarrassed. The nobleman only told the little lady that they would sell this jar of salt to the capital for 300 fen. After all, our place is a small place and not as good as the capital, so I will exchange it for 250 fen. Is the stuff okay? The shopkeeper frowned and considered the price, hesitated for a moment and then agreed. Zhang Ning's heart sank. Could it be that she had lowered the price? But the words had been spoken, and it was hard to change them now, so she bought 3 kilograms of coarse salt in the grocery store, worth 60 cents, and 4 round dustpans with a diameter of more than 1 meter, worth 20 cents. When, finally chose a large diameter earthenware pot worth 50 went to replace the large iron pot, and replaced all the rest with caramel. As soon as she left the shop, the clerk came to the shopkeeper and whispered, "Shopkeeper, how can a poor woman come up with such a good thing? Is there something wrong with the way it came from?" According to what he said, he should just knock the things off, even if she didn't dare to resist. End of this chapter. Dressed as a mother-in-law, she leads the whole family to turn over. Author, Bamboo Fence Tea. Chapter 7. Chapter 7 Motivation and Change. The shopkeeper glared at the waiter fiercely. "Stupid. Even the Tang family, the richest man in Yan Das Han town, can't eat this kind of salt. Where can she get it? Only passing merchants can get such good things. I will take them away when the time comes. If someone gets really angry and causes a big problem, how can I stop the business?" If the other party had exchanged more salt, he might have had some evil ideas, but they only gave me a pound. It was not worth taking such a big risk for such a small amount. Jiang Ning had already thought about this problem when she was changing things, so she only took out 1 pound, which could arouse the other party's thoughts without making anyone attack her. She couldn't take away so many things after changing them, so she had to stand not far from the grocery store and wait for Yang Data to come and look for her. When Yang Data was carrying food on his back and saw Jiang Ning piled with things around him, he felt heartbroken. "Auntie, you. How much did you spend on these things?" Jiang Ning shook his head. "I exchanged things for it. I dug some good things in the mountains yesterday. I just bargained with the shopkeeper. I didn't get any money, so I just asked for things. The 20 coins you gave me have not been touched and are still in my pocket." The surprise came so suddenly, Yang Data smiled like a fool. The mother and son walked back hard with a bunch of things. It was obviously a journey of more than half an hour, but they were forced to walk for more than an hour, carrying a heavy load. The scorching sun entered the village at noon. Jiang Ning stopped at the entrance of the village and asked Yang Data, "Wait a minute, if someone sees us buying a bunch of things when we enter the village now, can we still hold on? Their 2 shabby houses couldn't even guard against rats, not to mention humans." Yang Data felt as if someone had poured cold water on him, and he suddenly sobered up. "Anyang is right, you can't enter the village like this. You look at things here first, I will carry the food back, and then let Erden come over to help. The adults in the village generally take the main road, but the children have their own paths, which are ditches, slopes, or grass that adults cannot walk on. It is easy to encounter snakes and 4-legged monsters when walking in such places, but you can avoid the villagers." Yang Data went back and brought Yang Erden and willow leaves. The 3 of them had leaves hanging on their heads and clothes, and they didn't know which woods or bushes they had entered. Seeing so many things around Jiang Ning, Yang Erden and Lu Ye's eyes shone. Without Jiang Ning opening his mouth, they rushed forward and carried all the things around Jiang Ning, which made Jiang Ning feel embarrassed. The 3 of them returned the same way. Jiang Ning thought for a while and decided to walk on the main road carrying an empty backpack. She would have to meet a few villagers along the way. Although everyone rejected her, they couldn't help but be curious when they saw her carrying the basket into the village. Those who were bolder would he even leaned closer and stretched his neck to explore his head, but Jiang Ning gave him a fierce glare and then shrank back. After Jiang Ning left, several women gathered around her. "Have you seen it all? What did she bring back?" The woman in the middle curled her lips and said, "What are you bringing?" "Nothing. I think no one is willing to give alms even if she goes to beg for food." When everyone heard this, they all agreed and stopped talking about Jiang. Jiang Ning had no idea that she just walked around in front of the villagers and caused a lot of gossip. When she returned home, Yang Data and the other 2 people had already put things into the room where she slept, and piled them up in the corner of the yard. "Bamboo." She glanced at it, and Lu Yexing hurriedly brought her a bowl of hot wild vegetable porridge. "Mom, eat something first." "So positive." Jiang Ning glanced at her twice, then sat down and ate all the bowl of wild vegetable porridge in a few gulps. It seemed that she was numb after eating too much, and she couldn't feel anything at all. After filling his stomach, he lay down under the shade of a tree, feeling sleepy as the summer mountain breeze blew, and soon Jiang Ning fell asleep. Yang Data and others didn't dare to make any noise when they saw that she was sleeping. They all went into the house and began to take stock of things. Liu lowered his voice and exclaimed again and again, "How much did you exchange for those melon seeds? Why did you buy so many things?" Yang Data made a gesture of silence. "I exchanged 74 cents and bought 2 cans for 4. We had 70 cents left. I used 50 cents to buy 5 kilograms of grain, which was enough for us to eat for a few days. I originally gave my grandma 20 cents to buy salt, but grandma exchanged the items for salt and sugar. There are other things, and she still has 20 coins on her that are useless." Yang Erden was so happy, "So we still have 20 coins. Brother, Why didn't you take my mother to see the doctor? Yang Datu's expression froze, and he patted his head in annoyance. It's all my fault. I was so happy in the town that I forgot about it. Tomorrow I will take my mother-in-law to see the doctor. It costs 5 cents to see a doctor to check your pulse. If you want to get medicine, you have to pay extra. Now they have 20 cents. Even if they can't get medicine, they can still know what's going on with grandma. Luya said, Datu, since I have to go to the town tomorrow, I will pick some more melon seeds now, and then take them to the town to sell them tomorrow. In exchange for some more money, I can also buy medicine for my mother-in-law. Yezi, thank you. Yang Datu was so moved. Luya looked away sheepishly. Thank you for everything. We are all one family, and your mother-in-law is my mother-in-law. In the past, she really didn't like her mother-in-law, and was particularly afraid of her. She couldn't help but tremble when she saw her. Unexpectedly, when her mother-in-law woke up after being seriously injured, she not only stopped scolding her for causing trouble, but also made money for the family. For this reason, everyone has to find a way to save her mother-in-law. Yang Erden hurriedly said, I'll go too, and I'll go help too. Yang Datu objected, just let Yezi take Xiao there. There are 3 iron and 4 villages over there, so we don't need so many people. You can help me build a straw shed. Let's try to put up the shed in the next 2 days. At least there is a place it can protect you from wind and rain. Yang Erden looked disappointed, but when he looked down at the newly purchased things, he felt motivated again. The 2 brothers had nothing to do and went to the bamboo forest to cut some bamboo. It was almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon when Zhang Ning woke up. Yang Datu and Yang Erden had already tied some bamboos, and Zhang Ning quickly got up to help. A simple thatched shed is made by digging 4 small holes in the ground and inserting bamboos as pillars. Zhang Ning felt that it was unstable, so he dug several more holes. The entire roof tilted to one side, and the gaps between the bamboos on it were made denser. Although it was more time-consuming, it could last a longer time. The 3 of them finished building the frame of the shed. It was getting dark again, and while there was still some light, the brothers bundled the cut thatch into bundles and threw it on the roof. They spread as much as they could. Luya led the others home under the stars. They had come back several times in the afternoon, and now the kitchen was full of melons and the stench was overwhelming. A group of children did not mind the smell after knowing that this thing could be exchanged for money, and they worked very hard. When the ash was not enough, they burned it again. After 2 days of work on the stove, one side of the wall collapsed completely, but no one cared. Everyone worked hard to deal with Gualu. With their help, Zhang Ning was obviously much more relaxed. The next day, she and Yang Datu took the melon seeds they roasted last night and went out early. End of this chapter. Dressed as a mother-in-law, she leads the whole family to turn over. Author, Bamboo Fence Tea. Chapter 8. Chapter 8. A chance encounter in the hospital. Liu took Xiao to the fields as usual, and Yang Ergu took his 2 younger brothers to cut the thatch and try to build a thatched shed today. As soon as Yang Datu entered the town, he subconsciously wanted to go to the grocery store. Zhang Ning grabbed him and went to the restaurant first. The restaurant manager opened his business, and people from all walks of life had seen it. Even though Zhang Ning and his son were dressed in tatters, they still greeted them with smiles. They didn't show any dissatisfaction when they learned that they were not here to eat but to sell. Instead, he seriously tasted the melon seeds Zhang Ning brought. There happened to be a table of businessmen who were going to Fukan sitting next to them. Everyone was drinking small wine. When they smelled the fragrance of melon seeds, they immediately shouted for the waiter to serve them a plate. The shopkeeper had no choice but to buy a pound from Zhang Ning and send it over before continuing to discuss business. Who would have thought that before I even said a few words, someone would come up to me directly and ask, I am Li Changsheng of the Li family in Xiaodongyang. What do you call me? Jiang Ning was speechless. This body was as big as hers. She was only in her early 30s, and she was already an aunt. She was depressed while adjusting her mentality, and smiled politely. My husband's surname is Yang, and my maiden name is Zhang. Just call me Yang Zhang. Ms. Zhang, I wonder how to sell these melon seeds. Li Changsheng stared at the melon seeds in the basket eagerly, as if he was determined to get them. The shopkeeper looked a little ugly and said, Sir, you are also a businessman. You should know the principle of first come, first served. Li Changsheng sneered twice. Don't be angry, shopkeeper, I'm just asking. If you don't buy it, I'll cover it. The price is negotiable. Hey! Did I say you don't want to buy it? I've covered it all. The shopkeeper originally thought it was too expensive and planned to bargain again, but after being disturbed by Li Changsheng, the negotiation couldn't be concluded. I can only charge it at the price of 4 cents. Li Changsheng looked regretful and asked Jiang Ning, Ms. Zhang, do you still have any goods over there? I want as much as you can. The price is negotiable. Jiang Ning shook his head regretfully. That's all for today. I'll sell them all to the shopkeeper. If Mr. Li wants it, he'll have to wait a day. He'll probably be able to get around 40 kilograms tomorrow. Today these are about 30 kilograms, which they have made with the whole family's efforts. 40 kilograms is almost their limit. Li Changsheng was overjoyed. Okay. We happen to have a deal with the Tang family that we haven't reached yet, and we have to stay in Das Han town for 2 days. Tomorrow, when Mrs. Zhang comes over, go directly to the Das Han Inn to find me. Just tell the shopkeeper. This is the deposit. Li Changsheng was very wealthy and gave him a deposit of 100 yuan at once, and he was not afraid that Jiang Ning would take the money and run away. The mother and son exchanged more than 100 yuan from the restaurant, plus the 100 yuan deposit given by Li Changsheng. Yang Datu had money and had nothing to worry about, so he insisted on taking Jiang Ning to Hongantang to see Dr. Li for medical treatment. Jiang Ning couldn't resist him, so he had no choice but to go. Hongantang is the only medical clinic and pharmacy in Das Han town. It is quite large and you have to queue up to see a doctor. Yang Datu went to line up voluntarily. Jiang Ning wandered around, walked to the medicine man and asked, Child, does your medical clinic accept medicinal materials? Of course I'll take it. Do you want to sell medicinal materials? The boy asked crisply. Jiang Ning was used to being called auntie over and over again. He nodded without changing his expression. I have dried some Chinese oak towers over there, do you want to take them? How is the condition? The child asked seriously. Jiang Ning was a little embarrassed. It hasn't been dried yet, so I just wanted to inquire about the price. The boy turned around and took some gallnuts from the medicine cabinet and showed them to Jiang Ning. We only accept the ones of this quality. Clean them and dry them. They cost 5 cents per caddy. 5 cents is really not much. Jiang Ning frowned. How much can you charge? You will receive as much as you have. What a loud tone. Jiang Ning was shocked. The little boy grinned and said, Our boss is in the medicine business. He travels all over the country and can sell any amount of goods. Jiang Ning suddenly realized that it seemed that this mountain town was also full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers, but ordinary people like them didn't know it. As he spoke, it was finally Jiang Ning's turn. The doctor looked at her carefully and said thoughtfully, There is nothing wrong with this lady, she is just a little short of qi and blood. Just eat more meat to make up for it. If you are really worried, just prescribe 2 pills and go back to get through it. Jiang Ning shook his head vigorously. No need, doctor, I can just eat meat. Yang Data felt relieved knowing that Jiang Ning was fine. He had a smile on his face when he walked out of Hong'an Hall. Before he had taken 2 steps, a group of people rushed into the hospital carrying a man, followed by a wailing man. Woman! Jiangning didn't pay much attention to it, but Yang Data pulled her back and said, "Mom, that seems to be Uncle Yang Yang from the second uncle's family." What nonsense, Jiangning recalled carefully and found that the original owner had never thought about establishing a good relationship with the people in the village. She didn't know which families in the village were related to them. "I live in a hazy state and don't know what's going on." She let out a long sigh of relief, smiled dryly, and asked weakly, "What does it have to do with our family?" Yang Data was stunned for a moment before he said in a daze, "I have forgotten that Grandma didn't care about these things before. My second uncle and grandpa are brothers, and Uncle Yang Yang is my father's cousin. I want to call him my cousin." Jiangning finally understood these brain-burning relatives, and also knew that this family was quite close to them. Seeing that Jiangning was still dazed, Yang Data said, "Auntie, I'll go in and see if I can help. You wait here and don't run around." Jiangning hesitated and followed in. In the medical clinic, Ms. Jiang, Yang Yang's mother-in-law, was still breaking down and crying. Su arrived at the medical clinic, feeling a little calmer and crying less loudly. Yang Yang's eldest son Yang Xiao saw Yang Datu and asked with tears in his eyes, "Brother Datu, why are you here?" Yang Datu looked at Jiangning, who was coming in from outside, and said bravely, "Bring my mother-in-law to show the doctor." Yang Xiao saw Jiangning and lowered his head with guilt. Ms. Jiang was still crying and said nothing, and no one else paid any attention to Jiangning and her son. The doctor came out quickly, his brows furrowed tightly. The patient's injuries were too serious and he was bleeding too much. Fortunately, he was brought here in time. "I have stopped the bleeding, but his leg is broken. If he doesn't take good care of him, he will be in trouble in the future. No more work." Zhang's mood flew from to heaven, and then from heaven to hell, with great ups and downs, and she was completely confused. Yang Xiao and his three uncles negotiated with the doctor. Just for diagnosis, treatment, and prescription of medicine, it cost 200 cash. The money they brought together was still 35 cash short. Jiangning looked on coldly, not intending to care, but Yang Data was soft-hearted and looked at her several times. Jiangning sighed, took 35 coins from his arms and handed it to him, and said coldly, "I'll lend it to you for the time being. We are very poor. Remember to pay it back later." Yang Xiao was stunned, and the Jiang family looked like they had seen a ghost. They couldn't come back to their senses until Jiangning's mother and son left. Yang Yang's younger brother Yang Jun murmured, "Is this still the same Jiang family that cats hate dogs? Why does it look like a different person?" End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Dressed as a mother-in-law, she leads the whole family to turn over. Author, Bamboo Fence Tea. Chapter 9. Chapter 9 Rewards. Ms. Jiang frowned and said, "Stop talking. Go and see your elder brother quickly." Even though she doesn't like the Jiang family, the 35 yuan they lent them is genuine, and she can't do such a thing even with their help and speaking ill of them behind their backs. When Jiang shouted, everyone diverted their attention. Jiangning and Yang Data went to the grain store to buy some food before leaving the town. After returning home, the other children were even more excited to know that all the melon seeds were sold. They were going to Qingfeng Mountain to harvest melon seeds under the sun. When Jiangning thought of the 100 cash deposit, he felt so stressed that he couldn't even take care of the thatched shed. The whole family went to the foot of Qingfeng Mountain to pick melons. It was not the time when the melons were ripe yet, so they had to work hard to find the ones that were overripe and rotten. The whole family kept picking until it was almost dark. After all the people working in the fields left, I began to transport the melons home. After 3 or 4 trips in a row, I finally sent all the melons home. Jiangning drank a large mouthful of spring water and gasped, "We have almost picked all the ripe melons at the foot of the mountain, and the rest will have to wait for about half a month before we can pick them. I asked the medicine boy at the medical center today. Hong Antang collects dried melons and it costs 5 cents per caddy. From now on, when you go to the mountains, you will mainly focus on picking the ripe fresh melons. Remember, no one is allowed to tell anyone about this matter. Whether we can live in a house for the winter will matter. Pointing at these melons. When the children heard this, they immediately nodded seriously. Even the youngest Yang Sizhuang and Yang Xiao patted their chests and promised not to tell anyone. In fact, they didn't have the chance to talk about it. Thanks to the reputation of the original owner, the children had no friends at all in the village. They were all just brothers who played by themselves. Yang Datu had 3 or 2 friends because of his honest temperament. Today's Yang Xiao is one of them. Yang Erden only has one little friend. Yang Santi was at the age when he was naughty and mischievous. Children in the village were afraid of him and would not play with him, let alone Yang Sizhuang and Yang Xiao. They were Yang Santi's followers. Yang Santi is a clever kid, but with him around, Zhang doesn't have to worry about the 2 little ones spilling their beans. After Zhang explained, he began to direct the children to work. The whole family was busy until midnight and made a total of 50 kilograms of melon seeds. Yang Santi was so excited that Zhang said that he couldn't sleep. Thinking of the food in the house, he said, "Auntie, eldest brother, second brother, I will help repair the hay shed at home tomorrow. Is it okay if I don't go to the mountains?" Zhang didn't even open his eyes and said, "Okay, you go cut some thatch, and Erden will get some bamboo. Let's tie bamboo on all sides of the thatched shed as much as possible, block it with thatched grass, and live in it until winter comes. It should be fine before the snow starts. When the hay shed is ready and free, you can save adobe blocks. By autumn, you should be able to build 2 houses. There are also these 2 broken rooms. The stove room must be unusable, and the other one can be tidied up to store things. It just needs to get a new wooden door. Which of you can do it?" Yang Erden said weakly, "Auntie, I can give it a try." "You can still do this," Zhang was a little surprised. Yang Erden laughed naively and said, "I used to play at the 3rd uncle's house and studied with Fu Guang from the 3rd uncle's house for a while, but I was young at that time and the 3rd uncle wouldn't let me touch those things. I went to the mountains to chop wood by myself and learned from Fu Guang. It should be fine if you borrow a saw." Zhang was overjoyed. Not bad, not bad. I didn't expect that my mother-in-law is so awesome. I will make money to buy you delicious food tomorrow." This sudden motherly love surprised Yang Erden, and even Yang Datu was a little bit disgusted. Yang Santi even shouted, "Mom, I worked hard too. I picked most of the melons and fenugreeks." "I picked it too," Yang Sizhuang and Yang Xiao echoed. Zhang Dale said, okay, you are all very good, and you will all be rewarded." Several children made a happy fuss, and soon they all fell asleep. The next day, Zhang and Yang Datu set out before dawn. When they arrived at the Das Han Inn, they told the shopkeeper that Li Changsheng came to trade with them in person. He was overjoyed to learn that there were 50 kilograms of melon seeds, but he was disappointed when he heard that there would be no goods tomorrow. But the money they were supposed to give was not a penny less, and they were repeatedly told that if they still had melon seeds, they could send them directly to the Das Han Inn. This is really a happy event for Zhang. Apart from other things, at least she has a stable and big customer, and she is not afraid of unsaleable even if she sells several hundred kilograms of melon seeds. The mother and son collected the balance and started walking around the town. There were 5 days left before the big fair, and the town was deserted. They simply went to wander around the alleys, and they actually met a salesman walking in the streets. The goods of the salesman were quite complete, and the price was cheaper than those in the shop. Zhang chose some needlework and bought a pair of scissors for 50 cents. It happened that the salesman had a few pieces of defective material, which was thicker than ordinary linen. It can be used to make autumn clothes. 1 foot of this kind of material costs 15 cents, so he sells it for 10 cents. That flaw is not a problem at all in Zhongning's eyes, but it's a pity that she doesn't have enough coins. She had no choice but to turn her mind to the things in the system. After trying to get rid of Yang Datu, she asked in a low voice, "Can I exchange it for something?" The salesman narrowed his eyes slightly and said unhappily, "Madam, what I do is a small business, and ordinary things cannot be exchanged. I have honey here, do you want to change it?" The salesman was still thinking about how to refuse, but he became uneasy after hearing the honey. Is there really honey? Honey is a good thing. It is marketable but priceless. The supply exceeds the demand. 1 tael can be sold for 30 cash. Zhongning pretended to be searching in the backpack, but actually put the can from the space into the backpack. There was still one of the 2 cans he bought before, which just came in handy. She directly put 2 kilograms of honey into the jar. The salesman's eyes almost popped out when he saw the stuff. It's really honey. Okay. Madam, I'll trade with you. But I'm just a salesman, so I can't pay too much the price. Do you think it's 1 or 2 and 20 yuan? Become. Why not? What she was best at before traveling through time was making pastries, such as honeycomb cakes, which require a lot of honey. There is at least 50 kilograms of honey stored in the system. Currently, this thing is of no use, and she doesn't feel bad selling it for 2 kilograms. 2 kilograms of honey was worth 400 cents. She asked for 3 feet of materials. After carefully piecing them together, she could make autumn clothes for the whole family. The remaining 100 cents she asked for was a pair of copper locks. Yang Datu was taking a walk at the entrance of the alley. When he saw the salesman and Zhongning coming out, he didn't ask much. It wasn't until the salesman walked away that he looked at her basket curiously. "Auntie, did you just exchange something with the salesman again?" Zhongning nodded. "I changed 3 feet of material and a pair of copper locks. I will lock the door of that room when it is ready. From now on, I will put the food inside." Yang Datu smiled like a fat man of 200 pounds, feeling very happy. He had only worn new clothes a few times in his life. They were all old clothes worn by his father and grandpa. He was really desperate. He made a set of clothes for him to wear for at least 3 to 5 years. As for his younger brothers and sisters, they all wore his old clothes. They didn't even wear new clothes. End of this chapter. Dressed as a mother-in-law, she leads the whole family to turn over. Author, Bamboo Fence Tea. Chapter 10. Chapter 10 Zhang's Visit. I didn't expect that my mother-in-law would buy them cloth to make clothes. My brothers and sisters would probably go crazy with joy when they found out about it. It was rare for Zhongning to see such a childish side of Yang Datu. He found it very interesting. He patted his shoulder and said seriously, "It's just a new set of clothes. There will be more good things in the future. Don't be so worthless." Yang Datu nodded wildly like a chicken pecking at rice. Because he was so excited, he walked at such a long pace that Zhongning almost couldn't keep up. After the mother and son returned home, they found that the roof of the thatched shed was capped, which surprised Zhongning. What surprised her even more was that the roof made by the children was dense and solid, and it was known that it would not leak without testing. There were 2 logs and some clay placed in the open space in the yard. It seemed that the children were really active. When several children saw her coming back, they gathered around her and asked, "Anayang, what did you buy for us?" The person asking the question was Yang Santi. His darting eyes showed that he was impatient. Zhongning put down the backpack in a funny way and took out the fabric inside. "My mother asked for 3 feet of material to make autumn clothes for each of you. How about it? Are you really going to make us new clothes?" Yang Santi's eyes burst out with bright light. It was a kind of joy that Zhongning had never seen before. She couldn't help showing a loving smile and nodded heavily. there will definitely be clothes, but I'm not very good at making clothes, and I have to find ways to make money. I don't know if I can driven out. She was excited when buying the materials. When she calmed down, she remembered that the original owner was a useless person with well-developed limbs. She could only do simple sewing, and she didn't know if she could make clothes. Seeing that she was in trouble, Luye said, "Anayang, if you feel at ease, just give me the ingredients and I will make it." Zhang was overjoyed and immediately stuffed the material into Luye's arms. "Thank you for your hard work. This piece of lake blue material is relatively large. It should be no problem to make one for each of Datu and Sizhuang. This piece of dark green material can be used for 3 irons. Make another piece of clothing for Erden, this black piece is smaller, and make a pair of pants for Erden alone. Use this bright yellow piece to make a top for yourself, and then make a dress for Xiao. Use this maroon piece to make a pair of pants for yourself, and then make one for me. If the material is not enough, just tell me. I will go to town later. Find the salesman and buy some more." Luye didn't expect that she would be a part of it at all. The sudden surprise made her eyes turn red, and she nodded repeatedly, "That's enough. Don't worry, Mom, I will measure it carefully and won't waste any material." After contracting out such a big project, Zhang Ning felt relaxed all over. He hurried over to help Yang Erden make the doorframe. The children were working very hard because they were about to have new clothes. Those who cut thatch, and those who repaired the shed. The shed was very busy. Ms. Zhang happened to see the scene when she came over. She was so surprised that she couldn't close her mouth. Several children were also surprised to see her and they all stopped what they were doing. Zhang Ning stood up and asked, "Is something wrong?" Zhang came back to her senses, pointed to the hay shed, and asked curiously, "Are you building a house? There aren't even any animals in the yard, so it's impossible to build a shed for the animals." Yang Data quickly stepped forward, dusted off the dust, and replied, "Those 2 houses can't be lived in, so we can only build a shed temporarily." Ms. Zhang's eyes fell on the stove house that had no door and was burned beyond recognition. She was so shocked that she couldn't speak for a while. It took a long time before she asked with a complicated expression, "Then where are you living these days?" Yang Data pointed to the bonfire in the yard, "Sleeping in the yard. It happens that it hasn't rained these days. If it rains, it will be troublesome." "What's the matter with Auntie coming over?" Ms. Zhang came back to her senses and hurriedly handed the basket to Yang. Data took another 35 cents from his arms and said, "Thanks to you for your help yesterday, otherwise we wouldn't know what to do. This is 35 cents. You can count it, and there are also a few eggs laid by the hens at home. You keep it to eat." No, I'll take the money, but we can't ask for the eggs." "Auntie, take them back quickly to replenish your uncle's health." Yang Data kept refusing. "Zhang will be given life and death." Zhang Ning saw that they were going to beat each other if they kept trying, so he stepped forward and helped Yang Data, pushing Zhang out, "Just pay back the money, we don't need the eggs, you go back quickly." Zhang Ning was not good at politeness, and her expression was not very good, but she didn't ask for eggs. Ms. Zhang was even more shocked, secretly wondering if Ms. Zhang had gone to the gate of and suddenly woke up. Otherwise, why would a good person suddenly change his temperament? Zhang couldn't figure it out, but she had some changes in her view of Zhang Ning. After going down the hillside, Ms. Zhang met several women from the village. When they saw Ms. Zhang carrying a basket, they quickly asked, "I heard that your wound was seriously injured, why did you come here?" Ms. Zhang looked up at the yard on the hillside that was blocked by the banyan tree, and lowered her eyes. "Yesterday, Datu and his mother-in-law lent us some money. I'm here to pay back the money." "What? You said Big Dou's mother would lend you money? Is this red rain from the sky?" Several women looked in disbelief. Someone else murmured, I just said that the Zhang family is not a good person. I heard that there is no money at all when the family is separated. She can still lend you money. She must be secretly saving money. Maybe she has more money than her parents-in-law many. Is this the point? The point is not that actually took out the money, it's really weird. Mrs. Zhang really couldn't stand listening anymore and spat with a straight face, nonsense. If Mrs. Zhang was really rich, would she need to take her children to sleep in the yard? Go up and see what's going on in that house for yourselves. I would like to say that the uncle really went too far this time. In that shabby house, which can't even raise chickens, you let your daughter-in-law and grandchildren live in it. You don't know how they live these days. Sleeping directly in the yard at night, and now still building a straw hut. If you are really rich, do you think John could be so wrong to himself? Several women looked at each other, not believing Zhang's words at all. Out of curiosity, they secretly climbed up and looked around outside the yard of Zhang Ning's house. They saw that they were busy building thatched huts and the badly burned stove. After seeing it there, I believed Zhang's words. Someone gloated and said, "Tisk, tisk, tisk, I didn't expect that Zhang, who has been domineering for more than 10 years, would have such a day." The people on the side nodded repeatedly, "Forget it. It's none of our business, let's go." Seeing that Zhang Ning was having a hard time, everyone felt comfortable, and no one wanted to seek justice for her. Ms. Zhang really wanted to go and talk to old man Yang, but unfortunately there was a lot of trouble at home, and Yang Yang couldn't go to the field, so she had to take over, and she couldn't do anything at all. Zhang Ning didn't know that Mrs. Zhang had worried about their family. She and her children were busy until dark, and finally built the straw shed. The thatch was also tied on all sides. When he had time, he could tie it again to make it thicker. This night, the family finally no longer had to sleep in the yard. End of this chapter.